Michael Jackson recorded 30 songs for Thriller and only 9 made the album. Lady Gaga said she wrote 50 songs for Art Pop and 15 made the album. Whenever an artist releases an album, they say they've picked the best songs, but then years later, they'll call the song the worst thing they've ever made. So today in Music Rewind, we're looking at the artists who hate their own songs and why. Number 1. John Lennon. John Lennon wrote 73 songs for the Beatles, including hits such as Please Please Me, Help, and I Feel Fine. But while the Beatles have some classics, John Lennon would highly disagree with that statement. In an interview with Playboy in 1981, when asked if the Beatles created the best rock and roll music, John said no and carried on saying, "I'm dissatisfied with every record the Beatles ever made. There ain't one I wouldn't remake, including all the Beatles ones and all my individual ones. I heard Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds on the radio last night. It's abysmal. You know, the track is just terrible. I mean, it's great, but it wasn't made right." But that's the artistic trip, isn't it? The answer is that we had some good stuff and we did some bad stuff. Other songs he didn't like were Hold Me Tight, calling it a pretty poor song, 8 Days a Week in his eyes was never a good song, and one of his most iconic songs, Yesterday, is one he wishes he'd never written, complaining about the lack of lyrical density. He told David Sheff, "The lyrics don't resolve into any sense. They're good lines, they're good, but if you read the whole song, it doesn't say anything. You don't know what happened. She left and he wishes it were yesterday, that much you get, but it doesn't really resolve. I have had so much accolade for Yesterday. That's Paul's song and Paul's baby." Number 2. Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga has produced some timeless hits, but there are a few she doesn't particularly like as much as others. When asked in an interview what her worst song is, she replied with Telephone. While she doesn't hate the actual song, she clarifies saying, "The mix and the process of getting the production finished was very stressful for me. So when I say it's my worst song, it has nothing to do with the song, just my emotional connection to it. However, there may be more to the story. The song was previously offered to Britney Spears for her album Circus, which you can hear a demo for online. But Lady Gaga seemingly denied it, saying to the interviewer, well, that's not exactly what happened, but I don't want to delve into that. I could delve into that if you turn that off," motioning to the recorder. But in that same interview, she revealed the song that she would skip would be Money Honey off The Fame. In 2019, Lady Gaga would remove her song Do What You Want featuring R. Kelly from her album Art Pop, following the documentary Surviving R. Kelly. She previously defended working with R. Kelly in 2013, but in 2019 condemned him, saying in a post, "I stand behind these women 1000%. As a victim of sexual assault myself, I made both the video and the song at a dark time in my life. My intention was to create something extremely defiant and provocative because I was angry and still hadn't processed the trauma that had occurred in my own life. The song was called Do What You Want With My Body. I think it's clear how explicitly twisted my thinking was at that time. I intend to remove the song off iTunes and other streaming platforms and will not be working with him again." Other artists such as Celine Dion, Chance the Rapper, and Jennifer Hudson also removed their collaborations with him from streaming platforms. Number 3. Justin Timberlake. Justin Timberlake has written a lot of mega hit songs, but he is trying to distance himself from a song that earned him his 5th Hot 100 number 1, a Grammy, and an Oscar nomination. So just dance, dance, dance. Despite being his most streamed song on Spotify with over 1.5 billion streams, Justin says, "This song trips me out. It's not something I would ever have written for myself."
Again, this is a song that I don't feel is mine. Honestly, like,
why?
Because we wrote it for this movie. It just turned out that they're like, no, you have to sing it. And I was like, okay.
Number 4. Paramore. Sometimes artists tend to hate their biggest songs, and that stands true with this band. While they've started to perform the song again, Paramore retired the song Misery Business in 2018 due to the second verse being sexist and anti-feminist. The lyrics for that verse are "Second chances, they don't ever matter, people never change, once a whore, you're nothing more, I'm sorry, that'll never change." In 2015, Hayley Williams said in a Tumblr post that people ask her how she can call herself a feminist when Misery Business has those lyrics, and stated, "Misery Business is not a set of lyrics I relate to as a 26-year-old woman. I haven't related to it in a very long time. Those words were written when I was 17, admittedly from a very narrow-minded perspective." Number 5. Bruno Mars.
Today I don't feel like doing anything.
The Lazy song was Bruno Mars' third UK #1 from his debut album Do Whoops and Hooligans, but in an interview with GQ in 2013, he stated that he hates the song. While he doesn't go into detail as to why, early in the interview he says his favourite songs sound like events, using Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen, Billie Jean by Michael Jackson, and Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana as examples. He says, "I don't ever want to come out with something safe and get away with it sounds good. It's got to be more than sounding good." And safe to say, the Lazy song doesn't really fall within that category. Number 6. Nirvana. Despite only releasing 3 albums and being active for 7 years, Nirvana are one of the biggest bands of all time, and their breakout hit Smells Like Teen Spirit put them on the map and is still covered, sampled, and interpolated today. However, Kurt Cobain grew to hate the song the more popular it became. According to the band's drummer David Grohl, Kurt wanted to sell a lot of records and be the biggest band in the world, but didn't want the baggage that came along with the fame. Kurt also hated the fact the song took away the attention of their other songs. He struggled with the mainstream audience the song brought to his shows, seeing a sea of people who would beat him up in high school, and it got to a point where he wouldn't play the song at his shows. "I literally want to throw my guitar down and walk away. I can't pretend to have a good time playing it." Number 7. Queen. Now, if you're in a band, each member will likely have a different favourite and least favourite song. Queen are no exception to this. Brian May initially hated Don't Stop Me Now because Freddie Mercury's lyrics underplayed the dangers of HIV. In an interview with a guitar player, he said, "I didn't really take to it in the beginning. I didn't feel totally comfortable with what Freddie was singing at the time. I found it a little bit too flippant in view of the dangers of AIDS and stuff. But as time went on, I began to realise it gave people great joy." Roger Taylor hates the song Delilah, a song about Freddie Mercury's cat, and Freddie Mercury allegedly didn't like Brian May's heavy metal stuff. Number 8. Frank Sinatra. Sometimes musicians will record a song even if they absolutely hate it. Frank Sinatra never hid the fact he hates his song Stranger in the Night. Don Costa played me this song some years ago. I hated it. I hated this goddamn song the first I've heard it, and I still hate it.
Strangers in the night, exchanging glances.
He didn't stop there. During multiple live performances, he came up with fun ways to introduce the song. Some of his greatest hits include, "Here's a song I cannot stand," "If you like this song, you must be crazy about pineapple yogurt." Strangely enough, I keep saying to myself, why are you still singing this song? My favourite one is when he told the band leader he'd stick that violin bow where the sun don't shine. Well, that's a pretty image. He also began to hate a few more crowd pleasers like My Way and New York, New York. His daughter Tina Sinatra said he hated My Way because the song stuck and he couldn't get it off his shoe. He always thought the song was self-serving and self-indulgent. During a dinner honoring Elizabeth Taylor, as Sinatra was approaching the podium, the band started playing New York, New York, and he snapped saying, "Don't ever play that song again. I had enough of My Way, which was a pain in the arse, and I don't want this one to become a pain in the arse." Number 9. Ariana Grande. Now, Ariana Grande has a lot of songs she doesn't like or hates. Put Your Hearts Up is one she hates because of the sound and the fact the song is bad. She calls her songs Why Try and Touch It boring and calls NASA the weakest song of Thank You Next. Her relationship with her song Bang Bang is complicated. She was initially offered the song in 2014 and hated it. The song was then played to her again after Jessie J was placed on the song and she liked it. Bang Bang was pretty much performed at every single award show and was plastered on the radio, and now she doesn't like it and nor do her fans. Number 10. Oasis. Oasis have a complicated relationship with each other, but that also goes for their breakout hit Wonderwall. The song was written by Noel Gallagher, but it's his brother Liam who despises the song the most. The two never really see eye to eye, do they? Liam Gallagher told MTV that he wants to gag every time he sings the song, adding, "Problem is, it was a big tune for us. You go to America and they're like, are you Mr. Wonderwall? You want to chin someone." Noel said it annoyed him when Liam would walk off stage and that Liam hated Wonderwall. He said it was trip hop. There speaks a man who's never heard trip hop. However, in an interview with Mojo in 2021, Noel came out and said he doesn't like Wonderwall either and was unhappy with the recording of their sophomore album What's the Story? Morning Glory. Wonderwall is one of my least favourite songs because it's not finished. If I could somehow twist time and go back there, I'd probably pick a different song for our calling card. Probably, some might say. Regarding the recording of the album, he says, "It's the only album we never did demos for. I was writing on tour and I was planning on finishing the songs when I got to the studio, and we just never got round to it." And to finish off, here are a few quick fires of people who hate the songs. Selena Gomez doesn't like Come and Get It because it sounds like a Rihanna reject, which it is, so she's not wrong. Charlie Puth hates Marvin Gaye, the song, not the person. He calls it his worst song, and he's not wrong either. Pink hates Don't Let Me Get Me, telling BuzzFeed, "I wish I could burn that song." Lord's breakout hit Royals carved out a new sound in pop music, but while she was thrilled at the time, Lorde no longer likes her hit song. It sounds like a ringtone from a 2006 Nokia. None of the melodies are cool or good, it's disastrous. Eminem revealed in his 2013 song Headlights that he'll no longer perform songs like Clean Out My Closet against his mother Debbie Mathers after working out his childhood trauma. Madonna told a radio station in 2008 that she would have to be paid over $30 million to perform Holiday or Like a Virgin again, and in 2015 told Us Weekly, "My least favourite song is Material Girl. I never ever want to hear it again." Both Radiohead and TLC hated their song Creep. Radiohead called their song crap, and Johnny Greenwood played those violent guitar sounds in the verses to try and mess it up. TLC hated the song because the songwriter Daz Austin wrote it about members Tebow's unfortunate romantic experiences, but Lisa Left Eye Lopez hated the song's narrative and never wanted the song to see the light of day. Little Mix hate a few of their songs, including Cannonball, Black Magic, We Are Who We Are, Oops, and Beat Beat, calling the latter absolute filth. Finally, Britney Spears has given us classics like Toxic and Baby One More Time, but she sometimes runs from her hits. Haha, great pun. After a show in 2004, she said she never liked her song Sometimes, saying this.
Thank you! What? We gotta go?